Well, howdy everybody. This week, Deer and Wildlife Stories has a special online episode coming to you from just south of Schulenburg, Texas at Limitless Genetics. So this show is going to be a little bit different because it's not made for TV. This is an online broadcast, and so I want you to understand that if you're watching this program, I know you're watching it online, you can post your comments below and we'll get back with you.
My name is Jesse Boger. We're here at Limitless Genetics and we're located in Schulenburg, Texas. This is our third time having Keith Warren out and coming to video the bucks and show them off. We're really excited to show off our consistency this year, and we're very happy with our yearlings and 2-year-olds. It's just a great group all around.
All right, so I've been coming out here, I guess it's the third year in a row, isn't it?
Correct, yes sir.
We're gonna start out by showing a deer that's gonna blow your mind, okay? He was worth the trip over here, and his name, he's right there. His name is Big Slick. So tell us about Big Slick.
Big Slick is a blackjack voodoo maxstream. He does a sister buck that we're really excited about. I mean, he's gotta be 30 inches wide at one. We've got some great partners on him.
Hold on, 1 year old, okay? Take a look at him. I mean, that deer is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Okay, so you want to mention your partners?
So we sold half interest in TDA last year, Texas Deer Association, for and Knowles Farms out of Missouri bought it. And recently we have had MVP jump on and Cougar Ridge Whitetails out of Oklahoma jump on. So it's growing.
Yeah, well there's a reason why they jump on. I mean, take a look at that. I mean, he's got the pedigree, but he's also got the look.
Yep.
And that right there, I mean, every one of those deer that you just mentioned, they've done exceptional breeding throughout the industry, but all these other bucks in here, tell everybody about them. How old are they?
They're all yearlings minus the one, there's a black and blue tag in here. The black tag's Chaos, the big 3-year-old, and then the blue tag's a 2-year-old out of Enterprise.
Okay, so Chaos, I know we filmed him last year.
Right.
Okay, but he's still a stud. How wide do you think he is?
He's gonna be in the high 20s.
Yeah, I mean, he's big, and,
Yeah.
and you can tell by looking at the body size. All you deer hunters out there that may think, well, you can't tell the difference between a yearling and a 3-year-old. Well, take a look. I mean, take a look at these yearlings and take a look at that at Chaos. Okay, at 3, you can tell the difference in the body size. But these yearlings, I mean, they're all impressive.
Yeah.
Consistent across the board. Every one of them is big.
Right.
Okay, so out of all these guys, how many of them were the result of AI?
This whole pen is all AI.
Really?
100%.
Okay, so how much do you rely on AI for your overall business plan?
I would say the bulk majority of it. I just got to lighten the load on the bucks and just get newer genetics and focus on what the market tells you to do.
So the market's really changed. So tell everybody how hard it is now to have a true breeder buck.
Oh, it's really hard. I mean, you got to be able to encompass all the look, the spread, the pedigree. It's got to have the markability. I mean, there's a lot that has to go into it to get the right thing. And just to keep them healthy enough to grow that rack is important as well. I mean,
you know, I'm going to point something out that you go to the Texas Deer Association or any organization, whether it's Missouri or Florida, doesn't matter, you're going to see guys set up in booths, and you're going to see Jesse and Mia set up in a booth, just like Jade sets up. I mean, one of your partners, MVP. And so people go to these deer sales, so deer conventions, to meet each other and to discuss deer, discuss partnerships, if you will. That's where the marketing comes in. Okay, and so marketing for deer, you know, if you're lucky enough to be able to grow a deer like Big Slick, it's important to market him. Okay, so what you growing? If you can't market him, he's not going to be as successful.
Yep.
I mean, we know that for a fact. So you know, without a shadow of a doubt, people are going to take the semen out of him and put it in their best does to prove the offspring.
Yeah. Yep. Same with us. I mean, if you have a buck like that, you got to breed it. You got to show them off and get them out there.
Yeah. So some people may not think about breeding a yearling buck. Do you?
Normally I don't, but when they look like this, it makes it a little easier.
Okay. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to show you some more yearling bucks right now. All right, so here's another pen of yearlings, and I want to tell y'all something, something I struggle with, and you need to know. I mean, looking at these deer, these are phenomenal. Something I struggle with is that as I go to all these deer farms, one of the questions that every deer farmer asks, how my yearlings look compared to everybody else's.
Right.
Okay, and there's a reason for that, because these deer farmers are out busy growing these beautiful deer, and they don't have time like I do to go out and visit all the other farms, and so they don't want to know what's the competition doing. I think that's one reason why a lot of deer farmers like watching our shows, so they see what everybody else is doing. But how your yearlings look compared to everybody else's, it's like they're phenomenal.
Appreciate that.
I'm telling you, across the board here, These are beautiful. I mean, the last pin with Big Slick in there, beautiful. This pin right here, now, that deer right there is not a yearling.
Correct.
Who is that?
That's Inception. He's 3 this year.
Okay, well, take a look at that. I mean, we filmed him last year in the same pen.
Yeah, you think you've gotten them all 3 years, 1, 2, and 3.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll have to go back and take a look at the footage and see at 1, 2, and 3, and then tell us about his pedigree.
He's a Brain Freeze son. So Brain Freeze Express 329. 329's a super doe. I mean, she just cranks them out. So he's loaded.
Yeah. Okay, so we mentioned Brain Freeze. Okay. Tell everybody who Brain Freeze is.
Brain Freeze is our farm super sire. He just cranks them out like nothing I've seen. I mean, there's another deer in here, a nice 2-year-old out of Brain Freeze, a blue 1924, real pretty.
Right there.
Just laid back, yep.
And he's got the Brain Freeze look.
Oh yeah, it's a little cleaner. I mean, he's got some clean from the mom. It kind of, whatever you put in on the mom side, kind of accents it and super sizes it, I guess you'd say.
Okay, so Brain Freeze. Tell everybody how you got Brain Freeze. And really, you're talking about he's a franchise buck, basically. I mean,
right.
who the farm's built after. I mean, everything's kind of followed up after Brain Freeze because there's people all over the country using him. You can look in Nadar, and you can see the offspring and all the different people that are using him. One thing, right? Give everybody a telephone number if you want to come out here to Limitless Genetics. Give them a number.
It's 281-330-9519.
And you get a hold of Jesse and Mia, and they'll be happy to help you out. But these yearlings, what are you going to do with them? I mean, this is the time of year that deer farmers now start traveling around. And deer ranches start traveling around looking for deer. Tell everybody what's going to happen with these guys.
These guys will hang out for a year or so, and we'll see what they do next year. We're excited to see what their 2-year-old potential is.
Okay, so what happens is Jesse wound up, when we first started, Jesse didn't have these big grow out pens, basically the big buck pens. Okay, correct. And he built them last year. And so later on in the show, we're going to show you these 2-year-olds. So you have these 1-year-olds. You hold them over until they're 2, and you put them in these great big pens, and then you make a decision what you want to do with them at that point.
Right.
Okay. We'll show you those big grow out pens in a minute, but right now it's time for more 1-year-olds. Those guys right there are something.
Appreciate it. Yeah, they're exciting.
All right, so we just mentioned Brain Freeze and talked to you about how he's really the deer that put Jesse and me on the map. Tell everybody who these deer in here are out of.
These are all Brain Freeze yearlings, and then there's one Brain Freeze 2-year-old. He's the blue tag.
Yeah, that blue tag buck, he's absolutely beautiful there.
Yeah, he's pretty.
But okay, so all these are Brain Freeze.
Correct.
All right, so when it comes to Brain Freeze, you've been selling semen for a long time, and it's clear because when you take a look at his offspring in the registry, how many different people have been using it.
Right.
Do you have any partners on him?
Yep. Lone Hollow, Gist Kinsman Ranch, Pinnacle Genetics, and Kyle Coons of High Point Ranch.
And what you'll find out when you wind up looking in Nadar, you're going to be able to see people have all those different partners. They've got offspring out of it, and then they're selling deer out of it. And so that's the way a partnership works. You get involved with people that know what they're doing, that you can trust, and that they keep the value of the deer up.
Yep.
And so Brain Freeze, I mean, Brain Freeze is he's alive and well, but it's like Brain Freeze grows so big so fast that it's like every year we come out here, you got to cut him off before we get here.
Yeah, he doesn't like antlers, so he's always breaking stuff off, and it's easier just to cut him. He's proved himself enough. I don't really need to see antler production anymore.
And, you know, and that's the cool thing about it. When you've got deer that are breeder quality deer, at some point, once they've proven themselves, what do they need antlers for, really? I mean, I mean, antlers going to just get them in trouble.
Right.
And so it's okay just to cut them off because, again, you take a look at pictures of Brain Freeze, you know, and you take a look at his pedigree and the performance out of him, you know, he is getting it done for sure. All right, so we're going to show you some more 1-year-olds. You're going to see how it works year after year, looking at that maternal side, and we're going to show you a buck named War Admiral. All right, so here's the last pen of yearlings right here, and we're going to start out, you know, take a brief look at these yearlings, but who is that older buck in here?
That's War Admiral.
Okay, so War Admiral, we filmed him last year. Look at the difference in body size compared to all these other guys.
Oh yeah.
So tell everybody the pedigree on him.
He's a triple X son out of a triple crown on Green 8. Green 8 is Hardcore's sister.
You know, no wonder he looks the way he does. So
Oh,
you had a partner on him previously, but do you now?
No, it's just us now.
Okay, just you. So if somebody wants information on him, you're the only person to deal with on him.
Correct.
Okay. So tell me about these other guys in here. Anybody in particular you want to showcase?
It's just a great group of yearlings, really. I mean, consistently.
That's how modest he is. Okay, just a great group of yearlings. They're a fantastic group of yearlings. I don't know which one my favorite one is. I mean, there's lots of nice looking deer in here. Okay, so let's talk about NADAR, the North American Deer Registry. We talk about NADAR, you could see War Admiral, or you could see brain freeze in there, all these deer in there, and you see all their offspring and all. And in the past, deer breeders are always bred for performance, for big antlers.
Right.
But now that is changing, and the reason why it's changing because the North American Deer Registry has got a test to be able to test for genetic predictability for CWD. And so what deer breeders are doing, they're looking at this and they're breeding CWD out of their deer. And the susceptibility is what I'm talking about there. So there are some deer that are more susceptible and some deer that are less susceptible to CWD. And so what deer breeders are doing is they're taking the less susceptible deer to CWD, and that's the way they are breeding. And so the North American Deer Registry is a way to determine the susceptibility to chronic wasting disease. So that's the way we're breeding now. So NADAR is just an important tool for all of us.
For sure.
So I can tell y'all spend a lot of time out here. Yesterday you actually told me something that it kind of stuck with me. A lot of people think deer farmers, you got it made. And you know what? The deer farming lifestyle is a great way to live. It really is. I mean, you think about it, you get to work with your wife every day, you get to be outdoors every day, you get to be with wonderful animals every day. What I just say, every day, several times.
Yeah.
You're here every day. It's like if you have a dairy, those cows don't know Christmas or Thanksgiving. They don't know when you're sick. They got to be milked. Well, these deer need to be taken care of every single day. And you can tell by their behavior that y'all are out here all the time. Matter of fact, right now it's the middle of August. It's getting towards the end of August. And Jesse said yesterday, since March, they've left the farm.
Twice.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, you want to be a deer farmer, you better be prepared to be a deer farmer and take care of your deer, because this is the number one thing. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to head on over. We're going to take a look at some of these 2-year-olds now that are in the great big grow out pens. All right, so we just showed you a bunch of really nice yearling bucks, and now we're in what you call a grow out pen?
Correct.
All right, so tell me about these guys in here.
These are all 2-year-old deer that are going to other people's pastures to either improve genetics. And
okay, so the way this works, this is we are coming towards the end of August, and it's fixing to be payday. You sell deer, bucks like this, you really sell them at the end of August into September. And what happens is that people will come out and take a look at, and they travel all over the state. There's different guys looking that travel all over the state. There's a big market for this. I mean, it's big business. Listen up, this is payday. This is when buyers show up at a deer farm and they take a look at your 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, whatever you want to sell, and they buy these to improve the genetics on their pasture. And so what'll wind up happening, somebody will come in, you've been doing it long enough now, you probably have regular customers come back and just buy a whole trailer full of deer.
right.
Okay, and so, but there are some guys they'll want to buy 1 deer or 2 deer and all. I mean, if somebody wants to do that, do you do that, or do you just sell big groups?
No, I sell whatever. A lot of times they'll come and cherry pick, so a few of these will be leaving as breeders.
Okay.
For other people's, whether it be DMP bucks or just for their pens.
Yeah, because a lot of these are breeder quality deer. The genetics on them are superb. It's just, for Jesse, they're not breeder quality deer. I mean, you're dealing with the best of the best, the elite deer in the industry. And so these deer right here, I guess, let me explain to y'all at home how these deer get moved around. They will typically knock them down with a dart gun, and once they're sedated, they pick them up, they put them in a trailer, and then they reverse them, and they give them medications, of course, and then they'll reverse them, and then they drive to the location where they are. This is all done under permits with Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, and then they get released there on these big pastures, and those genetics are then shared. They're going out through there, and the deer that are going to be born from that are going to have those great genetics, and they're going to improve, well, I say, the experience and the property value as well with beautiful genetics. And so it is payday right now at a deer farm. All right, so Jesse wound up has 2 of these great big grow out pens, and we're going to head to the last one right now, and we're going to show you a deer that I love this deer. All right, so we just showed you a big pen of stalker bucks, and now we're in the second pen of stalker bucks, and there's one buck in here that I think he's my favorite buck on the farm. So take a look at these guys and tell me which one you think it is. I mean, I'm telling you, I know you know which deer I like best out of all these.
Right.
All right, so tell me about him. He's absolutely beautiful.
He's a big stitch 3-year-old, so he's big stitch on Rowdy on a big boy son, and then goes back to 70 EB.
Okay, so, but you've got him here in the stalker pen. I mean, your stalker pens. Now, when we started coming out here years ago, you didn't have these big pens.
Right.
Okay, and you increase the size of the farm and you increase the number of animals, so
Right.
you had to have a bigger space for these bucks to move around and feel more comfortable.
Right.
And but you've got him in here with stalkers. Certainly, you're not going to get rid of him as a stalker, right?
No way.
And so, why do you have him in here with him?
It was just an extra pen to keep him in there and let him be the top dog in there. So
Yeah, I mean,
he's a lot bigger than everybody else. You can see body-wise as well.
he's absolutely gorgeous. So, how wide was he last year?
Just over 30, 31-ish.
Okay, and with a typical frame, he's beautiful. So, we did film him last year?
No. We purchased him last year, and then we brought him over here as a breeder buck.
Okay, so what are you doing with him? You say as a breeder buck, or you just collecting semen out of him, selling semen? What are you doing with him?
Yeah, so we have a few partners on him, and so we'll collect semen, and we all breed it together. And he's just one of those deer. I mean, we got him sexed and everything like that, so we got as many buck fawns as possible as we can out of him. So our goal is.
Okay, so in a lot of the buck fawns out here, we were driving by the buck pens, and we saw these buck fawns are all big, really big.
Oh yeah.
Tell everybody about how he throws.
Oh, he's throwing 8 to 10 pounds steady twins. I mean, it's the biggest fawns I've ever had out of one sire, and it's consistent.
I mean, the thing is, when you take a look at them, you may think 8 to 10 pound fawns. That's big, especially when you're talking about across the board.
Oh yeah.
And so you take a look at some of these doe pens that Jesse's got. You've used him as a AI sire on all those does, so all those AI babies are all his.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so if somebody wants more information about coming on out here to Limitless Genetics, what you need to do is get a hold of Jesse. He'll give you the number in a second. But I want to tell you, Schulenburg, Texas, where we are right now, is on Interstate 10, just south of Interstate 10 between San Antonio and Houston. And so it's real convenient to get here. It's only about a 15-minute drive off Interstate 10. Give them a telephone number.
It's 281-330-9519.
And when you give them a call, Jesse and Mia are here just about every day.
Oh, yeah.
Just about every day.
Yeah.
They run the farm. I mean, they don't, they may have an intern come in every once in a while or helper come in every once in a while, but every day.
For sure.
They're here.
Yep.
And tell everybody the best time to come out here. I mean, if they want to come out here and take a look at the deer while they're growing and maybe make a deal, what's the best time?
If you want to come out during growing season, you need to come out mid-July or early August. Try to beat everybody else.
Yeah, because what's going to happen if you wait until the end of August, these deer are all basically spoken for.
Correct.
And so give Jesse a call. Well, that does it for today's show. If you've got any questions or comments, you know what to do. Go ahead and post them below. And while you're at it, make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel. My name is Keith Warren, and we'll see you next time.